My name is Deborah Gadet. I've been at the Oceti-Shakwan, Sacred Stone, Standing Rock camps here to stop the pipeline, stop the Black Snake. I've been here for 9 weeks. I came up from New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, an organization called the Red Nation I want to give a shout out to because they really helped inspire me and motivate me. And that's Native students at the University of New Mexico, holding it down in New Mexico against fracking, against border town violence and police violence, and for indigenous sovereignty and Native liberation. So, and I also grew up in North Dakota. So, I've been here for 9 weeks. Yesterday there was a lot of clergy here. We heard there was over 500 clergy. I went up to Bismarck to support the clergy in the peaceful resistance that they wanted to do at the state capitol in Bismarck. So we were there at the Capitol building, and then after they ordered us to disperse from the Capitol building, we walked around the corner basically to where the governor's mansion was. People were in front of the governor's mansion to let the governor hear our voices raised in song. I had stepped down the block to where it's like a really busy intersection to hold a flag for all of the people going home from work at that point, to kind of give them something to think about. One of these beautiful banners that are made here in the art tent saying we are here, we are protectors, and water is life. So we're waving that. And meanwhile, up the block, our large group was in front of the governor's mansion. So what I heard when I walked back up there to check on how things are doing is that someone had been arrested just from off the sidewalk across the street from the governor's mansion. So a public sidewalk, and this one man was selected out of the whole group of us, of over 50 of us there, and he was one of the very few Native people, and he was the only Native person in the front, and he was the one out of all the crowd that the police chose to just snatch off the sidewalk. And so there was a leader who emerged after the original leader, who was a member of the clergy, had let himself be arrested in an act of resistance. So now someone new stepped up, and I didn't know her name, but this African American pastor stepped up to be the spokesperson for our group, and she and the rest of us were all standing there, but she really led it beautifully and brilliantly, and was challenging the police on why they chose that one person. And the police were saying, well, he wasn't complying with what we were asking. Then we were basically saying, well, no one was complying with what you were asking, kind of like, why did you choose him? And they wanted us to disperse. We were done with our action anyway, so we said, we'll disperse, but not until you release him. And we meant it. I would have stood there all night long. And we all just stood there, and the police knew that we were for real. And a few minutes later, they released him.
Whoa! Bless you. Bless you.
Yeah. And so it was an act of solidarity by all of us. I give total credit to the person who facilitated that by negotiating with the police. And we all stood there strong. And it was completely unfair that they did pick him out, and we highlighted that. And it to this day, I mean, it was completely unfair. But in North Dakota, there's really nobody except for white people and Native people, and just trace amounts of other groups. So, and the white people are really descendants of the original settlers, to the extent that North Dakota is 38% Scandinavian and 42% German. The eastern half of the state is Scandinavian, and the western half of the state is German. And then there's 5.5% people in the state who are Native, mostly from the Oceti-Shakwan, different Sioux tribes, but also Anishinaabe, Ojibwe people, and also Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara people. And despite the fact that all of the Native groups together are only 5.5% of the population at this point due to genocide, 30% of the population of the prisons in North Dakota are made up of Native people. And the logo of the North Dakota Highway Patrol to this day is the Indian that the U.S. military and the state of North Dakota got to kill Sitting Bull in 1890, literally. And they've doubled down, saying they're going to keep that logo. So that's the environment in which the Lakota the Standing Rock Nation and the other nations of the Oceti Sakowin, the 7 council fires of the Sioux Nations, are standing for clean water for all of us, for today and for the future generations. There's already over 31 billion gallons of contaminated frack water in the state of North Dakota. That's already happened from the fracking. It's like it's time to clean that up, and it's time to not be polluting the waters of the Missouri River. Standing Rock is downstream. All of the other nations of the Oceti Sakowin are downstream, and 17 million other people are all downstream, and that's just before it hits the Mississippi River. We're all downstream, and so I'm proud and humbled to be here standing with Standing Rock for clean water for today and for the future for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.